The expectations is what we have to really be clear on first. Like you're redoing a room, right? You're redecorating something. Great, wonderful, right? There's a lot of decisions to be made, and that is very stressful for us. It's a lot of taxing a lot of our prefrontal cortex, even just little decisions. This knob or this knob, that glass or that glass. It's a lot of decisions for your prefrontal cortex, and it wears us down, and it's very easy to get lost in those negative thoughts then. So the first thing I would say is let's set your expectations to be accurate. And have your expectations in a way that aren't going to cause you suffering, right? Because anyone who is redoing something, remodeling, building a house, there are always problems. That is inherent in the remodel. There are going to be problems. Things are not going to turn out the way you expected them to turn out. But we have this idea in the beginning, because we're so lost in our, I'll be so happy when I get this remodel. I'll be so happy when I'm in the house, right? We imagine all of the good things and we forget the other side. Oh man, I got to make all these decisions. And not everything is going to turn out the way I was expecting. So the first thing there that I would say to you is do not expect the remodel is going to bring you lasting happiness, lasting satisfaction, that you are going to feel complete for this. Because if your expectations are pretty high, there was possibly a bit of that going on before you started. So again, set your expectations. Your happiness is not coming from the remodel. It's not coming from there. It's coming from inside, right? In not pushing back, right? If you're pushing back right now, I chose the wrong contractor, and now I'm going to beat myself up for the next 5 years about choosing the wrong contractor. Who's causing your suffering? The contractor or your thoughts that I chose the wrong contractor, right? You may have chosen the wrong contractor. Okay, what can you do about it now? How can you change your relationship to this? In what way can you, what can you influence and what can you not influence? But where can you find inside you're resisting this? You're pushing back in a way that's causing the suffering. And it starts so much with our expectations. It doesn't mean that you don't remodel. It doesn't mean that you don't build a house. It doesn't mean that you don't do these things. But there's a little bit of a looseness in just saying like, well, this is the plan. Let's see how it goes, right? And you can just feel a little like, oh, a little bit of a sense of freedom in that. Okay, let's see how it goes, right? That's the plan. Because how this room turns out, there are degrees, right? If it's complete disaster, right? Yeah, you got to do something. You got to get another contractor. Perhaps there's even a lawsuit that's involved in it. Okay, but still keeping it clear in your mind. My happiness was never dependent upon having that remodel or not. I want to have the remodel. I want to go through the process. I want to do my best to see if I can get it reasonably close to what I was thinking of. I don't want to I want to try to not get taken advantage of if I can avoid that. But, or have it not cost more than I thought it was going to cost. I'll try my best, right? But I'm not going to make my happiness dependent upon this, because my happiness is not dependent on that room. My happiness is in this moment right now, right? And accepting, oh, it sucks. I picked the wrong contractor. Okay. Next time when I go through this, maybe I've learned something from it. I'm not going to beat myself up about it because there's no benefit in that. What can I do? What can I do now? That's all I can control. What can I do in this moment? My happiness is not based on that moment, on how this project turns out. I have to tell you, in my own house, I really gave my contractor so much so much liberty, because I really did just think, this is your practice, Meredith. Like, you're building a house in Mexico. You got to go with it. And there were times I'd come and I'd be like, oh, Marco, great job over there. Like, that looks great. I didn't know how that was going to turn out. And there were a few head scratchers, like, why did they do it this way? And it's just like, well, building a house in Mexico, right? That's kind of, we win some things and we lose some things, right? Nothing's ever 100% one way. Right? We never get it 100% the way we want. But the suffering in there, right? Any suffering isn't because something didn't turn out the way we were thinking it might turn out. The suffering is our pushing back on it that it shouldn't be happening.